begin with an opening statement from Coach Silverfield and then open it up to questions from the media. If you have a question, please let me know by using the raise your hand feature in the reactions tab or by typing in chat. Coach Silverfield.
Morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. First off, let me start by giving our condolences and our thoughts out to those affected by the hurricane. Obviously, we continue to keep a watchful eye on it, but our thoughts and prayers are with those that have been affected, especially in Louisiana, and hope everybody remains safe for the time being. Also want to keep in mind that Tom's birthday, our beloved Tiger, it will be tomorrow. So that he's also in our thoughts, Scott and his family as well, to never be forgotten as well, with Tom's birthday approaching tomorrow. A couple other things to discuss. People are going to ask about the COVID vaccination numbers. By the time kickoff starts, we'll be at over 90%. So pleased with that, but of course, like I've told you guys before, I won't be completely happy until we're at 100%, but we'll continue to educate our young men on the right way to do things and about the vaccinations and about the effects of COVID. That being said, obviously really excited about the game on Saturday, be able to get our fans back in Liberty Bowl, 6 p.m. kickoff. We know the type of caliber team Nicholls State is. They're well coached. They play hard. They return almost virtually every starter on offense, defense, and special teams. So you look and you say, wow, it's a loaded deal, right? Plus they played spring ball, so they're geared up and ready to roll. They got talent all over. Their quarterback, as one time was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Louisiana at a high school, right, at LSU transfer. On their roster, they have 21 Division I transfers. So they're loaded with talent, right? Gums is their leading rusher, who is one of those guys that's a few yards short of being the all-time Nicholls State rushing leader. Dixon, their wide receivers, are all-time leading receiver. So they got record breakers. They got an All-American guard. And then on defense, they've got playmakers all over. They swarm to the ball. They do an excellent job. Number 7, their safety, plays all over the field, right? He's a Texas Tech transfer that does a lot of great things. He's the key to their whole defense. So, and then, like I said, all their specialists are back. So you're talking about an experienced team that's coming up here hungry. Obviously, our first concern is that they're safe and well, but look forward to a great matchup with them on Saturday and getting this 2021 season underway. Also, a couple notes before I get asked. The 2 deep will be being sent out in our game notes around 3 o'clock today. You guys will notice there are going to be a lot of orders because there's still questions to be answered this week. That's a great thing about game prep week. It's truly game week. So we're going to go through all the hoops and make sure that we're touching every base as we move forward.
Terry, lead us off.
Can you hear me, Coach?
Gotcha, Terry.
Okay. I was just going to ask you about have you named a starter for the kicker and punt team? And if you have, could you give us some background on them and also how your injury situation going so far in the camp?
All right, Terry, you'll be the only one I'll throw a bone to, and I'll go and give you that answer on the starting kicker and punter. Or that the rest of us got to wait anxiously till 3 o'clock to see what some of those other answers may be. But, we knew that that situation at both kicker and punter were going to be new for us. So right now we feel comfortable probably with Joe Doyle, the transfer from Tennessee, being probably our starting kicker and our starting punter. He's just a really talented young man who's mature, who's got the experience, who I think will do a nice job for us. I think maybe a guy like Noah Grant may handle our kickoff duties, but still to be determined. But David Kemp, the true freshman, I know some of you guys are asking about him, who we signed out of high school. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury. So that's part of the reason why we're heading this direction.
Evan and then Cassie.
Ryan, since that depth chart is getting released at 3 p.m., does that mean that at this point you are not ready to name a starting quarterback? Do I understand that correctly?
That is correct. Yeah, I think we're going to allow this week to continue to formulate, right? We still got a heavy dose of game planning for Nicholls State to see what kind of game plan we want to put together, which quarterback puts us in the best situation to win this game. And like you guys well know, and I told our players yesterday, they help determine the depth chart, but it's week in and week out, right? And you may see a guy, well, who's going to start at this position? Well, look, if Nicholls State comes out in 10 personnel, well, we're probably going to pull a linebacker off the field and start a DB. So that doesn't mean just because one guy is listed somewhere doesn't mean what it may be. Now, if they come out in 22 personnel, well, guess what? You may see an extra D lineman out there and we have to do things differently. So that's just part of it. So it's going to be a week-to-week deal, Evan. But the quarterback situation, we're going to continue to evaluate it the rest of this week.
When you say week to week for the quarterbacks, does that mean at this point, one hasn't stood out at this point, or what exactly is kind of the decision-making process at this point where you feel like it is week to week?
No, the great news is they've all stood out. That's the positive thing. I feel very comfortable with it. So it's not sitting here saying that none of them have stood out, it's that they've all done a nice job. And ultimately, I got to make a decision who puts us in the best situation.
Going off of that, was there something that I guess has been missing since spring when this competition started that would give you more confidence to choose one over the other?
Yeah, nothing's been missing. Like I said, are they 100% perfect on every practice, Cassie? No, but I think you'll be able to see the growth of it. And again, a lot of this is just continuing to get reps with different players, different things. Right now, all of a sudden, we're going to be going against a Nicholls State look. And who has those different advantages versus different looks. I think all that stuff we've got to take into consideration. As you guys did know, Grant was also a little bit banged up. So that's part of, moving forward, making sure everybody's got the fair shot of this thing.
Frank and then Brian.
Hey, Ryan, when you're going through position battles this late, and not just the quarterback, I know you've got a number of different position battles. What are the conversations with the individual guys of like, are you kind of telling them a timetable? Are you still in their individual ears as you're going through this process?
Well, I mentioned to our team yesterday, I said, great thing about this whole deal is competition occurs 365 days a year. Like I've told you guys, if I don't do my job, they'll be competing for this one. And no different, same with you guys. So the competition for our players is a day in and day out thing. One of the things I told them was, understand this. I showed them a picture of Antonio Gibson out of high school. I said, you guys know how many games Antonio Gibson started his junior year at the University of Memphis? I said, you know how many games it took him going into his junior year before he started games? I said, I don't think he started till his fourth game of his senior year at the University of Memphis. And it was ended up a third round pick. And a lot of our guys were sitting there saying, oh, wow, you're right. And so, look, we understand that, things are going to occur during the season, injuries, game planning, right? Like I said, there's going to be a game. We're going to go out there and play 3 tight ends. And so there may be a guy that you say, what the heck? There may be games where you have to game plan to have 2 running backs in the backfield. So I think a lot of it is, and part of it's just keeping our guys right constantly on edge. I'm dealing with 17 to 23-year-old guys that whatever it takes to motivate them. And look, they feel confident, comfortable. We've also discussed that no matter what happens, that it's a team sport, and we've got to be supportive of each other. That just because, you're third team on the depth chart right now, that doesn't mean anything because we got a long season ahead of us.
And then I know you guys are probably, your players are pretty fired up to get the season opener. Specifically with your young guys, what are the conversations of having them gauge their emotions to where they don't get too, overwhelmed in emotions to where they can't do their assignments?
Yeah, I think that's part of any home opener. I think, any of us that watched a little bit of college football this past weekend know that, man, those first games, there's a lot of things to get out of the system, right? Sloppy football is what we've seen so far. And that's just the nature of it, right? You hope as the season progresses, you become able to clean up what you're doing in all 3 phases. And the focus level has to be there. So I think part of it is just explain to those young guys, hey, it's going to be a neat atmosphere. It's going to be great, but we have to treat this no different than it's a Tuesday or Wednesday practice. We got to go out there and be clean. We got to be sharp. We got to execute at a high level. And there are those things, but just play within themselves. I think that's the best message we can give to anybody that goes out there. Everybody wants to go out there, and sometimes the bigger the atmosphere, the more they want to try to do things that are out of the realm of what the scheme calls for. And I always say this, if we go out there and play our hardest and we do as we're taught, right, trust the training, understand our fundamentals that we've worked so hard on and call what the scheme calls for, general terms, we'll like the end result.
Yeah. Brian and then Terry.
Hey, Coach, do you know if, because of the hurricane, did you guys offer Nichols to arrive early, maybe practice at Memphis?
Yeah, absolutely. So both Laird Veach and I have reached out. Laird has reached out to their AD and discussed with them, things that we can do to assist them. And I have also shared some text messages with their head coach, even early this weekend, as early as Saturday morning, just saying, hey, look, everything is wide open to you guys. I would like them first and foremost to be safe. But if there's anything we can do for them, right, if they want to come and use our practice facilities, if they want to come, we can set them up a locker room in the turf field, whatever it is to be accommodating to them, help them find lodging. We're 100% for. Like I said, their safety is our number one concern. And then if we can assist them, I think it's good sportsmanship to open our doors for them any way we can.
Hey, Coach, other than getting the win and getting everybody healthy coming out, what are you looking for, or what area of the ball are you looking for improvement or to come out with a smile on your face?
Yeah, Terry, I think any of these games, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, right? Like I always say, whether it's Nicholls State, Notre Dame, Rhodes College, whoever we're playing, the biggest thing is you want to see sound execution, right? You want to, I've told you guys before, I don't doubt that our team's going to go out there and play with great energy and effort. Those things are, right, non-negotiable. But I do want to see them go out there and play a clean game. And, you know, we talked about last year, right? One time we'd say the offense didn't play clean. Well, then the defense didn't play clean, then the special team. And so this year, you know, especially for game one, let's go play a clean game, right? Let's not have any turnovers on offense. And that let's be able to get the ball back on defense. Let's play sound. Let's not give up a big play. So really it's just fine execution of the basic details of what we're trying to get done, Terry. I think there's, you know, if we go out there and try to reinvent the wheel game one, we're going to find ourselves in trouble because, again, we're playing an experienced team, and teams like that can, you know, take advantage of us if we go out there and shoot ourselves in the foot. So I just want to see them, you know, our players go out there and execute. We've got to do a great job of coaches keeping them locked and dialed in to the task at hand.
Clayton and then Evan.
All right. Obviously, first half of September, there's a lot of sloppy football, as you mentioned, across the board. Just with a lot of these oars that we're going to see on the depth chart, a lot of position battles still going on. Is there any concern about the cohesion that you'll have going into this with, you know, maybe some roles not quite defined yet?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Clayton, but I don't really worry about that. I think part of it is, right, we've rotated multiple guys, even at the quarterback position. You want to talk about if we ever had experience for it, right? Talk about our backfield last year. I think we started 6 different running backs. So to sit there, good, bad, or ugly, we certainly say we've had experience of rotating different guys. But I think that also helps you build depth, right? And build long-term success of your roster, what you want to look like. I don't ever want to be one of those rosters where we've only played 11 guys and all of a sudden we get to December because, you know, reality of college football this day and age, guys are going to get banged up, chipped up, things are going to occur. And so the more guys we got that are getting those reps with the different types of groups, I think it's important. You know, I always said this in the NFL, the most important position was that backup quarterback position because he had to be preparing like he was a starter because guess what? You know, I forgot what the study was. It was like 85% of backup NFL quarterbacks end up starting games. And if they're not preparing, it's like with all of our guys, you know, like I said, that third string right guard for us may end up playing significant snaps at some point. So it's our job as coaches to make sure they're all on the same page. Regardless, we do talk about, yes, route concepts, the throwing patterns, timing of the different things, getting that feel understanding. I think that's part of, you know, a lot of it comes on game day as well.
Evan and then Mark.
So Ryan, kind of going back with the QBs a little bit, we spoke to Kevin Johns and he said that he has a plan set up for whoever is out there. So with this being kind of a week-to-week deal, are you concerned that you have these multiple plans lined up, but it could be, you know, changing right up until maybe kickoff at this point?
No, I'm not concerned at all about it. I think it's, like I said, the guys are getting a good split of reps with those things. And I think that's part of it is just getting them multiple deals like we have every year, right? Whether the first team gets 4 reps and then the second team gets 3 reps and the first team goes back out there and gets 4 reps. But we split it up during practice and we've had a good rotation of it. So, yeah, like I said, Kevin's done a great job of implementing this offense and coaching the quarterbacks. And, you know, regardless of game plan and who we play, right? The defensive scheme we're going to see this week is going to be very different than what we're going to see versus Arkansas State, very different than, you know, Mississippi State and UTSA. So every week presents its different challenges. Just like any coach, we've got to do what's best for our team week in and week out. And that's the nature of it.
Does it concern you too with the old adage, I guess, if you have, you know, multiple quarterbacks, you have none, does that concern you at all? Or as you said, you're confident with, again, this being a week-to-week deal, that doesn't bother you at all?
No, not at all. I sleep easy at night knowing that we do have those guys. I like I said before, I wasn't scrambling, searching the transfer portal, trying to find guys. I'm very comfortable with where we're at in that room. Like I said, they're all capable they're all winners. And I feel very comfortable where we're at. And, whoever takes the ball on Saturday at 6 p.m., whether we kick off or receive, I know will give us the best chance to win. And I know our team will have full confidence in as well.
Mark?
Hey, Ryan, specifically with Grant, you had mentioned last week he wasn't necessarily full go in that scrimmage. Is he a full go now? Is injury preventing him from doing anything in terms of getting ready for this game?
No, he's full go. No, he's been good. I think that was a couple weeks ago when he was limited in a basis, when I think you guys came out to practice and wondered where he was. And I said he was day to day. So he's full go. Excited about it. That's one thing I love about these quarterbacks is, even our fifth string quarterback right now is preparing like he's a starter. And I love it. Like I can't get enough of guys that are asking questions, that are film junkies, that are studying and watching each other and wanting to hang around us in the office, even when they don't need to. So it's been fun.
Are
and guess
you
what? In the same, Mark, for all of our positions, man, it's been this is a group I've told you guys before of hungry kids that, man, just eat it up and love being part of this program. It's been a lot of fun to watch because they're all, again, like I said, there's guys that know that they're not going to be the starter. They may not be listed as starter, but are preparing the heck out of, trying to get themselves in a better position.
at quarterback, though? Are you hoping at least at some point this season, one of these guys emerges as the guy? Or is
Again, I think they've all emerged, and it's just finding the guy that can be best, right? And so we'll have a lot more answers after the first game, and we'll have more answers after the second and the third. But I think, do you sit there and say we would like to have one guy through the whole season? I think that's maybe what we're maybe leaning with that question. We'll see. That's part of it. But again, like I said, I've been.
I meant more eventually. Like eventually, you won't.
Yeah. We'll see.
After going into October, are you hoping to figure out the one guy?
Possibly, right? We don't have Paxton Lynch on our roster right now. We don't have Riley Ferguson. We don't have Brady White, but those guys became it. I'll be very candid with you. When Brady White first got here, we discussed as an offensive staff, up until kickoff, did he give us the best advantage to win? And I think even after first few games, we're sitting there saying, is Brady the right guy for us moving forward? And those questions had to be asked, and that's part of it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Evan and then Devin.
Ryan, now moving off from quarterbacks a little bit. You mentioned how you wanted to kind of have a running back kind of established at this point. Where is that race kind of located right now? Because you said you don't want to start 6 running backs, but we spoke to Kevin Johns about it. Where do you see the running back guys at right now as far as who's kind of taking that lead, if you will?
Yeah, I do think we're going to get multiple guys carries because, like I said, last year, I think they're all capable and it's a lot of the same backs. But again, a name I mentioned that you guys should pay attention to is Brandon Thomas. I think Brandon's done a nice job, as a ball carrier back there for us, a young guy that didn't get hardly any playing time at all last year. Like I said, it'd be a new name for you guys to focus on. But still, Marcavius Weaver, Drake Clark, Kylan Watkins, all those guys are all capable, Asa Martin. So that's the great thing is we like to run the football here. And I think that's something we're going to try to hang our hat on. We weren't as successful last year with it. And if we feel good with, look, we're going to start a guy and he'll be the majority of our bell cow guy, but keep guys fresh, be able to pound the rocks, kind of our key focus.
And then last thing for me, John Tate is back. He's healthy. How good is it kind of having, again, someone who's been a leader, who's been through some of the wars, with the past teams? How good is it kind of having him back in the mix, being healthy and ready to contribute?
Yeah, man, it's John. Anybody that's been around John knows what a wonderful young man he is. He's smart. He cares. He loves his team. He's been just a tremendous asset to have back. Such a great personality and his leadership out there. So I always like that, right? That we talked about that experience on defense. Some of those guys have been in those fights with us and with me along these past few years. And man, it's always good to look across the huddle and see a familiar face and all right, here we go, baby. And it's certainly excited to have John back and expecting great things from him this season.
Devin?
Coach, what's good? How you doing?
Good, Devin. How you doing?
Doing well. I want to ask you about how good does it feel to know that you'll have fans like kind of booming in the stands again, kind of back to what you're used to a couple of seasons ago? Yeah.
Look, Devin, I've said this all along. I love our fans. Our players feed off their energy. The Liberty Bowl is a great atmosphere. And, it's just, I think the sense of be able to get back to it and having our fans in place. You know, I know our players are excited. We kind of did like a little mock game on Saturday night, and just being underneath the lights, you could just feel, for lack of a better term, all the feels. And what now to add the fans there this Saturday night is going to be awesome. We've got, like I said, the best fans in the country, and really grateful for their support. Can't wait to run out of the tunnel and see them all up in the stands.
All right, our last question for coaches are actually our fans' choice question. It comes from Go Tiger 731. And Coach Silverfield, they'd like to know, what was the most memorable moment of season one for you, and what are you looking forward to the most this season?
Yeah, look, I mean, there was a lot of memorable, unforgettable moments in season one. Certainly one that I'll never forget, the ups and downs. But like I've said all along, the way our players that stuck around and persevered, you know, gosh, I give them so much credit. And, you know, and our medical staff, all those people that work so hard. Obviously, the game versus UCF, what a cool deal. But I think what I told those guys is, you know, as we were going through, literally through it, you know, in September and October and November, I told our guys, I said, those that will stay and battle and hold their head high and keep fighting for Memphis and for the brothers will end up hoisting a trophy. And to see that come to fruition and winning a bowl game, I think that's as sweet as can be. That trophy was for those guys that stuck through, the medical staff, our people that were, you know, that were there and proud. So that was for them. And I think that's something I'll always remember.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.